Welcome everybody to day 2 of the 3-day challenge, and thank you so much for those that have shown up live. Yesterday, for those that were on live, as you know, I had a slight technical glitch, and then it actually stopped the recording. So I had to re-record day 1 today. So for those that are watching on the replay, it wasn't as exciting, I don't think, as being live. So that's an advantage of making sure that you are here live. If we do have any technical problems, you still get the info. So thanks for those that are joining us for the first time live. And thanks for those that are back again. Thanks that are back from yesterday and back from previous challenges. That's really great to see you all here today. So before we get into day 2 is all about stop sabotaging your success, okay? And we're really going to be delving into this, not only today, but also tomorrow. Tomorrow is talking about taking action. And so those two things kind of go hand in hand. But before we delve into today's topic, I wanted to do just a super quick recap on yesterday, because yesterday was when we started to chat about your values. We started to chat about your belief systems. Zara, I think, was it you that posted up that you wanted to know about what values were? Okay, so let me just do a really quick recap and see if I can start to share a little bit more about you, about what, how to identify what your values are. Okay, so just a quick recap. We pulled this out here. We started to talk about how your values belong to you. Your beliefs are just a set of programs on how you were taught to see the world. You can upgrade them. And in fact, if your life is not going the way that you want it to, you should upgrade them. And that's generally the first place to start. So we started to talk about how we filter our whole reality through our values. And we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail today again. So our values are really the areas of our life that we filter our conscious awareness. Now, all the other awareness is sitting in your subconscious waiting for you to access it, but you've got to know the right questions to ask. And so that's why knowing what your values are is so important. Now, there are 7 areas of life that we can loosely put them into, and that is your spirituality is generally a value. And keep in mind that these are loose areas. Like for me, if spirituality to some people might mean going to church religiously. For other people, it might mean meditating. Like that, there can be lots of things within these areas. They're just kind of guides to help you. So spirituality, your mental, your learning. So I am someone that values learning. Some people don't value it so much. That's okay. Your career is another area. So career could mean working for someone else. It could mean your business, whatever that is to you. Then your financial area is another area of your life that you could value. Your family is another area that generally rates pretty high for most people. Not all, but most. Your social life, for some people, they really have a strong value on socializing. In fact, some people make a whole career out of it, like the Kardashians, Paris Hilton. There are people that actually make money out of just socializing. And then your physical, and your physical can mean your health, your well-being, your actual external appearance, your fitness. So there's lots of subcategories in there. Now, how you work out what that is, if you're not in the Facebook group, Align, Design and Create Your Life, I would advise that you jump in it, because there is actually a document inside there. If you hunt around in that group under documents, you'll find that there is a values determination document. And that gives you some questions that you can start queuing so that you can start to get a better understanding. But one of the other things that I like to do is just pretty much at the end of each day, just start to reflect and go, okay, what areas actually captured my attention today? What was it that captured my attention? For today, I can say that it was predominantly my business and my health. My health took on a little bit more focus today, because I felt last night like I was starting to come down with a bit of a cold. And of course, I wanted to be able to talk to everyone today. So health and business today were very much linked. So just observe at the end of each day, what is capturing your attention. Okay. Julie is saying that the audio is not working. I hope that that's, can everyone understand me, or is it just like it's coming through? Okay, so it might just be, Julia, it might just be your internet on your end. So Apologies for that. There's not much I can do about that one. So that's one way to start looking at your values. But as we go, do that at the end of today. Just observe what it was that captured your attention, and just jot down the top 3 things that will start to give you some really clear clues, and do the worksheet that's in the group. So does that answer your question, Zara? Is that, yep, great. Okay, awesome. Does anyone else have any questions or any insights that they'd like to share from yesterday? Is there anything else? Because I'll just open up the lines really quickly if there's anyone that has any questions. No, okay. So it sounds like everyone's good. If you do, by all means, stop and let me know if there's anything that you'd love to share. Okay, so today we're starting to look at what is really blocking your success, okay? Because for you to be unstoppable, first of all, you need 3 things to happen. So if you are taking notes tonight, then jot these down. The first thing is that you need to know what your values are, okay? But having a really, like, anyone that's successful, anyone that's has a sense of high self-worth, that knows who they are and is clear on what they want, has a crystal clear knowledge of what's important to them and why. They know with certainty what they're about. So knowing your values is essential. And your goals are actually just an extension of those. And I jotted this down when I was just speaking to one of my other clients. And the purpose of a goal is not necessarily the goal itself, but the purpose of a goal is it allows us to ensure that our behaviors and our mindset and our values are all in alignment. So it's kind of a mindset tool, so that we're not just floating around in the ether. Because if you don't have a goal, it's really hard to work out where your blocks and where your resistance are as to why things aren't working out the way that you want them to. So, achieving the goal, yeah, that's great. Like, I'm not this like personal development fanatical person that's like, you have to have a goal and like rah, rah, rah. Like it's more that it helps us adjust and tweak our beliefs and our behaviors so that they're all in alignment. That is the purpose of that. Okay, so the next thing is to in order to be unstoppable, is you've got to clear out the past traumas, like the fear, the shame, and the guilt, because all of those things, unresolved emotions that are in your past, will start to trigger self-sabotaging behaviors in the now. Okay, so you might want to write that down, that unresolved traumas from the past will create self-sabotaging behaviors in the now. And I often share the story of when I had an intense fear of public speaking. And I remember when I very first started doing this work, and I was running some sales training, some sales coaching, and I had to like stand up in front of, it was like literally 6 people. It was nothing. And I started to feel quite anxious and nervous. And then my sister said to me, you did a speech at my 21st. And so I realized that something had happened, some traumatic event had happened in between when my sister turned 21 and when I'd been asked to run this workshop. And I remember that when I finished school, I studied interior design, and on my final project, I got asked to, you have to stand up in front of your class and present your project. And my lecturer, absolutely, when I'd finished, and I was like feeling quite proud about my work, and as I'm standing in front of the class, my lecturer just tore shreds off me. She just said that it was the worst work that she'd ever seen, that I had to go back and do it, that it was an instant fail. And I remember just standing there going, oh, like, just feeling absolutely defeated. So it wasn't until I cleared out that past trauma that I went, hang on a sec, I actually would like to do public speaking. That was where the fear came from. So that's just a really quick example of how our fears of past traumas, our fear of that repeating again, can really start to cause behaviors that are really blocking our success. And then the third thing that you need in order to become unstoppable is you have to be willing to change. Okay, this one is probably, it sounds like the simplest one, but this is probably the hardest one. You have to be willing to change and to give up where you are now. And what I mean by that is actually you have to be willing to give up being the victim as well, like that victim mode. And when I say victim, I tread carefully using that word, because it comes in so many forms, and it's quite it has sneaky little ways of getting into getting into our life. So anytime you hear yourself saying, oh, I just can't seem to, or this, all this stuff always seems to happen to me, or I just can't quite get on top of things, or that is the language of that you're not actually taking accountability, that I'd like to actually make some changes in my life. Okay, so the mindset work is the easy part. And when I'm working with people, when for those that are interested in finding out more about my upcoming mastermind program, one of the things over the years that I'm getting better and better at making sure that people who want to join have is a willingness to change, okay? Because it's important that you have that desire to move beyond where you are right now in order to get a different result. Now, if you're not ready, be honest with yourself, and that's okay. You might be in a position where maybe, a lot of stuff's been going on. Maybe you're not ready to make those changes, and that's perfectly okay. But if you are ready to make those changes, then expect some amazing results, that's for sure. Okay, so we're going to get into the so look, when you have those three factors, when you're becoming an unstoppable force, when you're really demonstrating behaviors that are in alignment with your goals and your vision, because all of a sudden there'll be inspiration, and there's not that sort of underlying desperation, and a desperation to achieve your goals, just a desperation like you feel like you're on the treadmill. That will kind of go. Now, if you don't quite get this step, life, it will be more challenging, and you'll be more in this zone. You'll be more in that zone. So the other thing as well is learning the art of asking questions of how to get back. Now, if you want to know what those questions are, jump in the Facebook group. I've done heaps of Facebook lives about different questions that you can ask yourself to get yourself back in the middle there. And also, I think I ran through them yesterday as well. However, I think the replay, I'm not sure if I went through them in quite as much detail. Okay, so main blocks of resistance. Okay, is this interesting to everyone so far? Just making sure. Now, if there's anything in particular that you want more information on, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to run through the content and share stories, as they pop into my mind. Okay, so our main blocks of resistance, and if you're taking notes, you might want to write this down. So your beliefs, okay? Your belief systems. Your belief systems do influence your thoughts, okay? And your thoughts drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your behaviors. And so therefore we can start to conclude that your limiting belief systems start to trigger limiting behaviors, okay? Your limiting belief systems trigger limiting behaviors. And I had an example of this just the other day. I met somebody who I thought would be a really great person to interview on my radio show. For those, I've got a show on Boss Mode Radio, so check that out. You can just jump, we're an online radio station, and I found someone, and I thought she'd be quite an interesting person. And I remember as I watched, she's kind of like I could see all of a sudden that she was infatuating with the idea of being on radio, but she actually thought that maybe that was beyond where she was, because I noticed that even though she followed me up on email, she never mentioned it. She actually never mentioned it. She kind of scooted around the outside. And I thought, wow, if she believed that she, deserved to be interviewed, she would have just hit me with it straight up. When can I be interviewed on your show? So we pass up opportunities that are actually going to be really good for us. Who here knows that they've passed up opportunities that could have been really good for them, and then afterwards gone, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say that? Why didn't I speak up and declare that I want this? Okay. Now, if that is you, part of the reason is that you're not clear on what your values are, and you're not clear on all the different ways that could manifest. So it all comes down to values. Values is a really significant part of the work, the work that we do to start to get you into alignment. Okay, so being unclear on your values is a massive block and a massive piece of resistance, because often if people are unclear, and if you are unclear on what your values are, you will be susceptible to living inside other people's values, okay? And living inside other people's expectations is going to cause you to self-sabotage. Okay, because if you're trying to live up to an imaginary standard that somebody has imposed on you, you're going to self-sabotage. Okay, procrastinators, that could be you. If you find that you're a procrastinator, then ask yourself, you know, is this, oh, Betty's like waving saying me. So if you are a procrastinator, ask yourself that question. You know, sometimes that is a good indication. And also, if you are constantly trying to seek pleasure up here and avoid pain as well, this is another indication that we haven't, you know, we're not living a life that's congruent with our values. We're not getting our fulfillment internally. So we're looking for external things to make us feel good about ourselves. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, great. Okay, so ask yourself, who am I doing this for? You've got to ask yourself, who am I actually living my life for? Am I living it for me, or am I living it for a bunch of other people's expectations? Which, by the way, it doesn't matter how much of a people pleaser you are. Do you notice that you never kind of actually are able to please everyone? So it's like this never-ending thing. You know, you can't please all of the people all of the time. And the funny thing is the more that you start to sort of, you know, focus on yourself and bring that back into balance, you'll actually find that you'll be more effective in helping other people get what they want. And it will have a greater sense of fulfillment. Now, just a quick side note is also the greatest reason, if anyone experiences conflict in their life, I mean, like, hey, that's unavoidable. If you live in the life in this world and you talk to people on a regular basis, there's going to be times where other people piss you off or you piss other people off. Agreed? Yeah. Okay. So that, you know, that is a given. You're not, so let's just agree that we're not going to avoid that. However, one of the greatest reasons that this does occur is that most people are unclear on what their values are, but also you can't have an awareness of what other people's values are to a greater degree than what you know your own. Okay, so when you can't understand somebody else's values, it's really hard to have authentic communication with them, like really, really, really challenging. So if you've got any relationships in your life right now that are a little bit bumpy, whether that be in the workplace, with friends, family, your close family, you know, your immediate family, then you've got to start to ask, do I understand what their values are, or am I projecting my values onto them? Or am I injecting their values and then building up resentment? Okay, that is the greatest reason why people have conflict. If only we taught this stuff in schools, you know, if only we taught this stuff in schools, because also when you understand your own values, automatically you start to see other people's values and how they're playing out. And you can start to really see why people are behaving in the way that they are. And you stop taking things so personally. You really do. You stop taking things so personally. You have a lot more compassion and empathy, because you can see that this is just somebody that's trying to make sense of their values, not really doing a very good job, and then perhaps lashing out at you, and it's not even about you. That's generally been my experience, more so than taking it personally. So just keep that in mind. That was just a side note that I just added 5 minutes ago. So I'm sure that there's someone in here that popped into my mind for. Let me know if that was you. That would be cool. Okay. The next one is that you have beliefs. When you have belief systems that are in direct opposition to your values. Oh, there's so much internal conflict with that one. So much internal conflict. And the story that pops to mind is I once had a client who he's gay, and his family knows that he's gay, and he wasn't comfortable coming out, but he'd come to terms with it, and his family had accepted him. But they were deeply religious, and his parents were very, very Catholic. So although they'd accepted him inside the home, when it came to their community and their friends, they pretended that he was straight and he just didn't have a girlfriend yet, and that he was living with a flatmate. They just kind of couldn't come to terms. And so there was a lot of shame and guilt. Mum and dad have kind of accepted me, but kind of not. So that is an example of when your belief systems. So in this particular case, his belief that had been inherited from his parents is that it's not, it's bad to be gay. yet his value is, that's who I am. Like, that's how I'm born. I can't change that. So that's probably quite an extreme example. But when we do have belief systems that are in opposition to our values, that's the natural, that is the natural thing. You will have internal conflict. You'll start to doubt yourself. You start to tell yourself that you're not worthy, and you are. You will start to tell yourself that you are unlovable, and you're not. Everyone is totally lovable. So these are the starts of things. We start to tell ourselves stories that are just simply not true. You can rewrite the story that you tell yourself. Of that, I'm certain. Okay, so the next thing is also that there's 3 fantasies that are keeping you stuck. The first one is that if you do have a goal that is just one-sided, if you have a goal where you're only willing to do it if it feels good, okay, and this is where that old New Age thing of if it's meant to be, it will all work out. Okay, I'm just going to call BS on that. If it's meant to be, it's up to me, because if it's meant to be, it will all work out. Tells me that you only want it if it's pleasure. Okay, and that's okay, but be honest with yourself. That's not a real goal. That's not something that's in alignment with your values. Because if it was truly important to you, like, do we have any mums in the room? Like, hey, we know those kids become a very high value to us, and it ain't all support. There's a lot of challenge that comes with that as well. So that is that's an example of a value that we can all relate to, that it's challenging, but it's also, there's both sides to it. So a goal that is worth getting will have both sides. It will have challenge and it will have support. Okay, if it's one-sided, then that's just a fantasy. Keep that in mind. Now, the other thing as well is it's also a fantasy, and it's quite improbable that it will work out is if it's not in alignment with your highest values. So if your goal is not in alignment, then yeah, there's a good chance that that's a significant block for you as well. Now, the third thing here is that it's unstrategized. We're going to go into strategy and taking action and willingness to change tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to save some of that, but I wanted to just share a little bit. I've seen people have like full anxiety over something that, a goal that they wanted to achieve, simply because they had not taken the time to put together a strategy. Okay, now when it comes to a strategy, what I want you to know is it's no different to, I'd love you all to imagine that you're walking through like a windy track, in the woods at night, and that all you've got is a torch to look in front. So you've got a light just beaming, and all you can see on this dirt track is just a few steps in front of you. Okay. Now, for many of you, your strategy will be just that. You don't need to know every single part. You just need to know the next few steps and have a sense of like faith in yourself and your own capabilities, that once you've done those few steps, that the path will open up for you, and that you have the capability of then working out the next few steps from there. So often people get overwhelmed that they need to know every single part, and then so they don't even stop to go, okay, what are the first few steps? And then they go into a sense of anxiety. Has anyone ever done this? Okay, because this is actually way more common than what you might think. Okay, yeah, because often I do hear people say, oh, if you just put your mind to anything or stay positive, it will all work out. That's terrible advice to be receiving, and also to be giving, because in reality, if it's not in alignment with your values, if it's against, if it's just seeking one side, if you haven't got a strategy, if your beliefs and your values are in opposition, all of these things, then it's highly unlikely that it will come together for you. It may, but it'd be very unlikely, and it'll probably go quite slow. And look, I mean, I know when I started this program, I was evidence of this. I didn't know every step, but I knew all that I knew that I just had to get some, I knew the first few steps, right? I didn't know how this was going to work out. And I remember my very first webinar that I ever ran. I knew all I need to do was to get people to register, work out how to use this Zoom platform, and have some content that I thought would be really, valuable to people. And my very first webinar, one person showed up. But do you know what? I gave it my all. I didn't see that as a defeat. I saw that as a blessing. Thank you, one person, for showing up so that I have the opportunity to, to deliver this to a live audience. So it's all about the way that you frame it. Okay, it's not about being delusional, but it's about looking for the gratitude in each moment. Okay. Okay, so has that been useful for everyone so far? Is that okay? Cool. Have there been a few light bulbs that have gone off for anyone? Yep. Okay. I'm seeing a few cameras come back on and a few nods around the room. So in a moment, I'm going to open up the lines once we've finished. I'll do this at the very end so that those that just want to get the content down can take off if they need to, if they've got things that they need to do, and also those that are on the replay. So before we go, I just wanted to also, is it okay if I just share just quickly, a couple of people have asked me about the mastermind, and I've already had a few people that have registered, so that's super exciting. There's only a handful of places, okay, so don't, there's 100 people that have registered, or over 100 now, that have registered for this 3-day challenge, and there's only a handful of places, so just keep that in mind. In the mastermind program, what we do is we go through all of this step by step, okay, where we actually give you the chance. It goes over 10 weeks so that you've got the opportunity to not only learn and understand the process, but you've got a week then to apply it to your own life, see how it works, and then come back. And we go through everything from your values, your goals, your vision beyond your vision, clearing out fear, clearing out guilt, clearing out shame, raising your self-worth, your money mindset, which is huge, how to manifest, how to communicate in other people's values, like all of this, we cover absolutely everything. So if there is anybody that is interested in that, if there is anybody that's interested in finding out some more information, I would encourage you to book a discovery call with me. And as a bonus, for everybody that does book in that call, I'm going to give you a 15 to 20 minute strategy, belief balance, clearing out past emotions, whatever it is that you need. I'm going to actually give you the experience of what this feels like, okay? Because in a moment I'm going to ask somebody to volunteer. We didn't have any volunteers last night, so that's okay. I think Billie said that she might volunteer today, and I've never met Billie before, so that's exciting to share this work with someone new. But if you would love to find out more, I include one of those strategy, belief balance, or stress clearing sessions, absolutely free, so you can experience what this is all about. Does that sound good to everyone? Does that sound exciting? Okay, awesome, great. Okay, so have you been trying to set goals when you're stressed? Or have you been trying to set goals or create a future when you haven't cleared out the beliefs, when you haven't understood what your values are, when you're not sure if they're actually your goals or someone else? Has this happened to anyone? Is anyone else doing this? Okay. Because to operate with these blocks, to operate with these mindset blocks, it's like trying to drive your car only in first gear, for those that can remember when manual cars were even a thing. So, trying to drive your car in first gear. Imagine that. Imagine if you just got around your day in first gear. Like, you might get there, but damn, it's going to be slow and it's going to be bumpy, and you're going to cause a lot of problems. So as you start to clear these past traumas and you do start to upgrade these belief systems, I want you all to remember that a memory without an emotional charge is wisdom. A memory without emotional charge attached to it is wisdom. Okay, so today's challenge, so this is the juicy bit. By the way, did everyone do last night's challenge? It's okay if you didn't, because I know for some people it's super early, those that are in the Northern Hemisphere. For those that are in Australia and New Zealand, it's super late. So that's fine. So post them up into the group if you've done them. I'd love to see what you've come up with. But tonight's challenge is I'd love you to write down 3 behaviors that you're currently doing that are undermining your success. Okay, so what is a behavior? And it could be a way that you talk to yourself. It could be something, a way that you show up into the world, how you talk, how you act. Do you put yourself forward for things, or do you stand back and hope that other people will notice you? So ask yourself, what is the story that you're telling yourself that makes you behave this way? So write down the 3 behaviors, first of all, that are undermining your success, and then ask yourself, what is the story that you tell yourself that makes you actually behave this way? This is going to be, I'm really excited to see what everyone comes up with on this one, because this is where, once we start to know what the story is that you're telling yourself, we can rewrite that. We can absolutely rewrite that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so for those that have to jump off now, that does conclude day 2, and we'll see you all for day 3. But I'd love to open up the lines. Billie, are you still interested in, I'm just going to unmute you if that's okay. Are you there? Hello?
Yes.
Hi, are you still interested in helping me demonstrate some coaching live on the call?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Hi. Yes, I am.
Fantastic. That's great. That's great. So first of all, before we get it, because I've only just kind of met you, thanks so much for being here. It's really cool to have you here. Now, how can I just tell me what's jumped out at you over the past 2 days? Is there anything that kind of has caught your interest in the day 1 and day 2 of the 3-day challenge?
I think, yeah, so I guess just the belief system and how I think how my own belief systems are undermining me from wanting to achieve my goals. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so do you have a particular goal in mind that you feel, or is there a particular belief system that you've already identified?
I have a goal in mind, and I don't know what the belief system is at the moment.
Okay, so just could you share with me just quickly what is the goal that you've got?
Yeah. So my goal is to start a successful online business and be able to work for myself.
Okay. Now, do you know will you be selling a product or a service?
Selling a product.
Okay. Do you know what that product is?
I have like an idea, but it's not like crystal clear at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you're still not sure what that is, but you have a little bit of an idea. Okay, so I'm just going to ask a few more questions, because at the moment it's sounding like maybe there's a bit of strategy work to do in there, but let's just have a look at what the beliefs are, because there might be some beliefs that are kind of creating a bit of resistance in you actually getting to that strategy. So when you think about, so you're working in you're working in a job for someone else at the moment, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. Okay. Now, yesterday, actually, while I've just got you on the line, because I forgot to show those that are live, I forgot to show you this yesterday, and this is this brainwave development. So I hope it's okay if I just quickly deviate for you, Billie. Okay, because I think this is really cool for everyone to see. Is that you can see over here in the brainwave development, and I was chatting about this last night for those that are live, and those that saw the replay, you would have already seen this. But on 0 to 6 years old, can you see that our brainwaves are incredibly slow? And so these are the really impressionable years when everything and predominantly our parents are our biggest influence, or whoever it was that looked after you, they are our biggest influence in those very, very early years. Ages 6 to 12, parents are there's still a heavy influence, but your brainwaves are speeding up. You're more able to discern what's true for you, and you're starting to prune away, because in between 0 and 6 years old, you are literally just building neural connections, building. And did you know that a 6-year-old has 3 times as many neural connections in their brain as a 12-year-old? Because from 6 to 12, the pruning process starts. Okay, we're starting to prune away all of that BS and all of that stuff that isn't true for us. But what gets caught in there is often belief systems that are not in alignment, you know, with us. They're things that our parents said to us or demonstrated to us that, I mean, let's face it, if you're getting hypnotized, most of us wouldn't get our parents to do it. So I just wanted to recap on that because I forgot to show that to you guys yesterday. When it comes to starting your own business, do your parents have their own business or do they work for other people?
My dad has his own business.
Dad has his own business. Okay. That is a great start because if you've seen a parent actually have their own business. Okay. So when it comes to, now the reason I'm asking you this is not because I think it particularly matters what other people think about what it is that you're doing, but sometimes we're able to see our beliefs reflected back to us in terms of what triggers us, because there's some opinions that others have around us that just kind of wash off us, and there are other opinions that we kind of make, you know, we make them bigger than perhaps what they need to be. So what's your parents' opinion on you starting, or people that are close to you? Is there any belief systems around that, around, you know, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, or if there's anything that you need to be fearful of? Just do a quick scan of the people that are in your life or your parents.
I think my parents and the people around me are they're all supportive.
Yeah.
So I think they are positive. Perhaps my parents will say, yeah, go for it, but be careful of this, be careful of that, you know, just think it through first.
Okay. So is it so we're just going to start to narrow it down. When you think about starting your online business, is it a belief, is it a fear of the unknown, or is it a belief that you don't have the skills to pull it all together?
I think it's mostly the fear of not having the skills and not being prepared enough.
Okay.
And a little bit of the unknown. But I think if I feel that I am prepared enough, then the fear of the unknown wouldn't be as big.
Okay. Perfect. So from this, it sounds like you're supported, that you've got the belief that you can do this. Am I right in saying that it sounds like maybe there's just a little bit more strategy that needs to be put in place, like knowing what the product is and getting firm on that, and then working out what the next few steps are?
Yes, I think I do believe I can do it.
Yeah.
I think the fear is about, I guess, like just leaving my stable employment at the moment and sort of jumping into something that perhaps could be, you know, a little bit unstable in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So has there been a time in your life before where you've jumped into something that was unstable and it hasn't worked out?
I don't think I've ever tried.
Okay. Okay. So when you think about leaving your stable employment, and I want you just to focus on that fear for a moment. I want you to imagine that you've left your stable employment, and you know, and things are feeling really unstable, you're uncertain. I want you to go into that feeling and just describe it for me.
Just not being in control.
Okay, so out of control. What else? What's another emotion that comes up?
I don't know. It's mostly not being in control.
Okay, so when you think about leaving your stable employment and that feeling of out of control, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressful is that to you?
Maybe like a 7 or an 8.
Okay, so that's pretty stressful, 7 or an 8 out of 10. Okay, so can you think of a time in your life where you felt this same emotion of being out of control? Can you think of a time where you've experienced that same emotion, and it can be in a completely different, unrelated Like, don't, what I'm saying is don't filter the circumstance, just chase the feeling and the emotion of feeling out of control, and then let me know when you're there.
I guess I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Maybe, I mean, the most recent time that I felt like that was actually at my work when it was very, very stressful. But I'm just trying to think, like early childhood, it could be because like my family moved around a lot. So I was in like lots of different schools and I had to like make new friends all the time. So maybe, yeah, maybe from there onwards, I just crave that stability.
Okay. So which memory is coming in as being feeling like it's more significant? Is it something that happened at your work, or is it being a kid and feeling like you were out of control?
They're kind of on par.
Okay, well, look, let's go to when you're a kid. Go to a moment when you were moved around from school. Now, what I want is there might be lots and lots of moments, there might be dozens and dozens, but I just want you to choose one really significant memory where you'd been moved around, you were feeling quite unstable and out of control. And then just once you've found that memory, it can just be any memory, it doesn't matter which one it is, one that feels quite stressful, that you still remember it being quite a stressful event for you. And when you're there, let me know.
Maybe I think I was in like maybe 4.
Grade 4. Okay. Are you inside the classroom or are you out in the playground?
I was out in the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's with you?
I was just sitting alone, and I remember I had to it was a new school, and I had to make new friends again.
Okay. So you're in the playground and you're sitting alone. Okay. And in that memory, what's the biggest emotion that's coming through for you?
The unknown.
Okay. That you're unknown.
Just like not knowing what will happen, and mm,
Okay. So it feels like there's a sense of sort of uncertainty and out of control.
yeah, it's mostly uncertainty and maybe just a little bit lonely, like wanting to have like my own friends.
Okay, so uncertainty. Okay, so what I want you to do, Billy, is have a look and lonely. Okay, have a look in that very moment when you're when you're feeling a sense of uncertainty as you're sitting in the playground by yourself. I want you to open up your awareness and have a look. Whereabouts in your life did you have a sense of certainty? Okay, you've got uncertainty because it's a new school, but have a look around in your environment. What feels certain and known to you?
Um, I think most of my life at the moment, my work is quite certain. I've been in the same workplace for a very long time.
Okay, so hang on, just go back to when you're a little girl and you're
Sorry.
grade 4. No, that's okay. Sorry, I don't think I explained that properly. Go back to when you're that little girl in grade 4 and you're in the playground and you're sitting alone and you're feeling that sense of uncertainty. At that same moment in your life as that, grade 4 girl, what part of your life did you have a sense of certainty? What part of your life was there certainty?
My parents,
Parents?
my relationship with my parents.
Yeah, great. Okay, what else?
Mm, don't remember much. Um, I think that's about it.
Okay, have a look. Is there anything in your life, and anything else in your life that you feel like a sense of certainty around?
Myself.
Okay, that's huge. That's that's really significant for a grade 4. Okay, so describe that to me. What do you mean? What does that mean to you?
Just like knowing what I like and knowing um, I think I was confident. So just knowing
Yeah.
Because like I was new in the school, so like, you know, people, I remember like, you know, there are people in the class that was kind of like sussing me out, and like a
Okay.
couple of people were bullying me, but I was quite firm and I was like quite confident, so I was just like, no, like leave me alone, go away.
Okay.
um
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So in that moment, is your certainty of yourself and your confidence and knowing that you can stand up for yourself, and knowing that your parents are like, you know, 100% supporting you, is your certainty, if I had an imaginary set of scales, would your certainty be the same as your uncertainty in that moment?
no.
Okay, which one's stronger?
So the uncertainty will be stronger.
The uncertainty is still stronger. Okay, keep having a look. Whereabouts, what else in your life are you certain about at that moment? You're certain of yourself, you're confident, you're firm. You know, if people try to bully you or challenge you, like, you know yourself, your parents. What else? What else in your life are you certain of? What about your learning? Like, is there an area of school that you're good at?
um Not at that. I don't remember much like at that age. Like, I mean, I was good at like maths and stuff like when I was a bit older, but I don't really remember much at that
Okay,
age.
okay, okay. So just keep having a look. Is there another area of your life? Like, are there friends from other schools? Do you have other relatives, or is there a pet? Just, you know, or any other family members? Just keep having a look at what else are you certain of in your life at that moment?
I don't remember because we moved around a lot,
Yeah,
and like we were migrants to another country, so
yeah. Okay.
I didn't really have that much support sort of network at that age.
Okay, so you've already done this at this point. You'd already done this a few times, is that right?
Yeah, I've moved
Okay.
on.
Okay. So was there anywhere in there that you like, you've got through it before,
Yeah,
even though it was challenging at that time, did you know that you'd get through it again?
yeah, I did.
Okay, okay. So did you have a certainty around that?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you had a certainty that this is just for this moment and this will pass, and I will come out the other
Yeah,
side.
it was like an uncomfortable feeling sitting in that playground alone, but I just knew that I could make new friends again, and it's like
Okay.
that will pass, but it was still uncomfortable. Yeah.
Billie, can I ask you, that ability to make new friends when you're feeling really uncomfortable, how is that going to serve you in your business?
Like it will definitely be a great like advantage and skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think I am good at networking, and
Yeah.
I
Great.
have good interpersonal skills. So
Yeah.
definitely that is something that would be,
Okay.
yeah, very
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. And I can see that. I mean, you volunteered in a room full of strangers, you know, to talk about something that, you know, it's personal, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, thank you for doing that. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so do you have certainty and uncertainty? Just go to that moment when you're in grade 4. I'm just going to recheck in with you. In that moment, is your sense of certainty the same as your sense of uncertainty, just for that moment?
I think the sense of uncertainty is slightly higher.
Is still slightly higher? Okay, that's okay. Let's just keep going through. Where else? What other parts of your life? So we've got that you've done it before and you're certain that this will pass and that you know you'll be able to make new friends again. You've got a sense of certainty with your parents, a sense of certainty with yourself. Can I ask, did you immigrated? What was the reason that your family immigrated?
Just to get a better life and better like employment opportunities.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So did you have a sense of certainty around that this was a better choice for you?
No, like I don't think I had
At
any
that
idea.
age? No, that's okay. I'm just looking for all avenues here. Okay, Where else? Where else is there a sense of certainty? Okay, well, let's just go in. Can I just ask, when you that little girl sitting under, in the playground, is the emotion still uncertainty, or does it feel like it's shifted? Is the emotion that you're feeling still uncertainty, or does it feel has it changed? It's okay if it's the same. I'm just checking in.
Not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe it's about the same or maybe slightly more certain. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's come back. So in that moment, do you still feel, what does that moment sitting out in the playground when you're grade 4, what does that look like now? Does it still feel stressful and uncertain, or does it feel a little bit more balanced to you now?
It feels a little bit more balanced because I've talked about it, I think.
Okay. So let's go into this moment now, thinking about changing your career because you are feeling that out of control and needing that sense of stability.
Yes.
Okay. Because you've been in a lot of environments in the past where you've been in that environment where you've been uncertain and it's been out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just check in for me. Does that still feel as stressful to you, being out of control, starting your own business?
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how stressful does that look now?
I think it's still maybe like a 6 or 7.
Okay, so it's reduced a little bit. Okay, what I would like to know, okay, is let's just go back to that playground for a moment. Okay, in that moment that you were feeling uncertain, where were you feeling a sense of stability?
Maybe just the teachers in the school, just
Okay.
feeling.
Okay, so you've got stability in the teachers and the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when you think about starting your own business, what part feels out of control to you?
The unknown.
Okay. When you say unknown, the unknown of what? Is it unknown of income, unknown of how you're going to put it all together, unknown of your products? What is there something in particular?
Yeah, I think it's everything that you mentioned, but I think the most stressful part is just not knowing about the income.
Okay, the income. Okay.
Yeah. So I think financially that it's not really a big stress about that. It's something that I stress out about because I like having a stable income and I have things, mortgages to pay for, and I just like to have like a backup plan and backup,
Yeah.
finances. So I never want to go into negative.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense. Okay, so in that moment of we can narrow it that that it is actually feeling out of control around your income. Okay, so what could you do now that we know that that's what it is? What could you do to bring a sense of stability to the income of this new business? What is an action step that you could take? What is some sort of strategy that you could take around ensuring that the income provides some sort of stability for you?
Like right now, or
Yeah, I'm just asking, what are a couple of action steps that you could take?
to actually look at my finances at the moment and to set up a budget plan.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so actually get a snapshot of where you are and set up a budget. Okay, perfect. What else? Can I just ask, is this business, because I'm not sure of what the details are, but is this something that you could actually set up and begin while you're still like on the weekends and after hours while you're still working for someone else?
Yeah, I think I can. yeah, the thing is I have another business. So I just, yeah, so I guess it's just trying to balance that, like, because if I were to focus my time and energy on this new online business, I think the current business that I have on the side at the moment, I think I need to reduce my hours in that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so it's about reshuffling where your values are at.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Look, there's when it comes to starting a new business, really there's two ways that you can go about it. Have the finances in the bank to actually fund yourself, and understand that you won't necessarily start making money and replace your income in the first week. That's really unrealistic for most businesses. There's a gestation period. There's a time that it actually takes to create and build and get all of the systems flowing. So really you have two choices, is to work out, can I fund myself, or can I transition myself so that I've built this up so that it's almost or pretty much replacing my income, and then step off so that there is that sense of certainty. Do either one of those sound like a strategy that you could implement?
Yes, I think I was trying to do the second strategy with my current business that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's gotten to a point where I feel like it's taking up too much of my time and it's not
Yeah.
really sustainable. So yeah,
Okay. So you've just given yourself your answer then, haven't you?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So the thought of leaving, now that you know that you can actually, reshuffle things, potentially look at whether you want to keep this other business or not, invest some time into actually building it up before you take that step. Leaving your employment, does that still feel out of control, or does it feel like you've got a little bit more of an idea of how you might go about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think just like talking it through and coming up, like, yeah, like you said in
Yeah.
previously, that just having a clear idea of what you value, what's more
Yeah.
important to you is helpful in making that decision. Otherwise, I'm like in that limbo and I get really indecisive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand that. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, leaving your employment for this business, how stressful does that feel to you now? If you were to do it in this way that we've just discussed.
Um, maybe like a yeah. If I were to prepare myself and stuff, I think it will be like a 4 out of 10.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's more manageable. So what you've just done is, Billy, you've just taken it from sort of out around here to down, closer to the centre there. So what you'll find is you'll actually be able to think of your strategy first of all, you'll be able to identify your values and think of a strategy and come up with a strategy that's more congruent for you when you're closer to that centre. Because when we're in a stress response, it's really hard to make plans for the future. We go around in circles. So yeah, thank you, Billy. Has that been helpful for you, do you think?
Yeah, that has been helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being and particularly staying on this call. If any of you have any questions, I'm accessible. Please message me if you have any questions. And also, if anyone would like to share any insights, or if you have any questions right now, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow for day 3 of the 3-day challenge. This is where we're going to pull it all together for you. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.